Okay, YouTube, so here we are. I've removed the firewall and the front floors from the 86 Ramcharger and started to prep it for the 2005 floors. I've undrilled all the spot welds that held the floor in, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to weld those up just to clean them up. And then I removed this kind of inner portion here. One, because it wasn't really complete here at the top. They just had a braze weld here and then a bunch of seam sealer. So I'm going to box this out and make it complete all the way around before I start building back. And then once I get this repaired, then I'm going to put a brace that'll go from this side to the other side and connect them. Because as you can see right now, I've got just a ratchet strap ensuring that I maintain the right width here from this side to the next side. I've done the same thing to the other side and cleaned it up. I am going to clean up here. I guess it'd be easier to show from this side. I'm going to clean up the front post as well. So what I'm going to do is just make this symmetrical as far as the gap. And then I'm going to make a piece of sheet metal that's going to come across the front of this. And then it's almost like spot weld to this with my MIG welder. And then I'll connect it down to this piece down here, so it'll be one continuous piece and it'll just look like the way the factory would have had it. However, this is where it curved before for the existing firewall, basically where the basically the rain runoff channel was. So this was actually bent way out the other way like this, or in the original configuration. I have retained the lower windshield lip from both sides, and once I get everything in there, I'll have to figure out what that's going to look like. It would be nice if I could use the 2005 windshield wiper assembly, but it's a little too early to tell for that. I know I could definitely use the 86 one. But yeah, what you don't see is there used to be a piece of metal that came up here, kind of curved out as part of the factory, and then of course everything that was here is now gone too. So I've got in the back, so here's the mock floors that I'm using to test fit everything, and then of course there's the mock firewall that I'm using to test fit everything. This is the upper tray basically that goes on top of the firewall. It's the base of the windshield and what the dash bolts into. And then of course here's the original one kind of tucked in the corner here. You really can't probably see much, but it's there, and if I need to use it I can. I have the dash completely, stripped down to just the frame, so when it comes time to test fit everything, the one thing that's nice is I can actually bolt the dash in there, and it kind of locks a lot of things in place. So the one trouble area I do have, and you can see I've marked it out here, so roughly between here and here is where the studs go that hold the dash in, and they're interfering with this weather stripping pinch weld. So what I might end up doing is I might end up just cutting the pinch weld off here and then putting the plate like flush to this face so that the dash will just like bolt flush to this face. And then yeah, I won't have a pinch weld here for the weather stripping to adhere to, but I can figure something out. I can weld something onto the dash frame if I need to, or I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got for now. It's been a slow process. I'll go ahead and I'll clean up here as well. You can see where I drilled out all the spot welds. This is just weld through primer that's on there now, so it'll weld up just fine. But main thing I'm going to focus on next is cleanup and prep, like I talked about. And if you heard me say that I'm using those floors and firewalls mock pieces, that was correct. So I'm going to end up going and buying a whole nother cab. as I've been going through this, I've kind of discovered that the regular cab versus the 4-door cab would be a lot better choice. And the reason is the back. So what you don't see here is at one point in time there was a lip here that had a bunch of spot weld holes in it, and then there's a cross member that runs across here and then literally goes down into each of the rockers. It contains the rear seat mount bolts. It also contains the seat belt bolt as it comes down and anchors there. With the extended cab, what ends up happening is this is flat, you know, because this is where your feet are going to go in the back. Well, on the 2-door cab, it angles up here and then back, which is going to not align perfectly with what I've got going on here, but you can see I've kind of got the same thing going on here. It goes up and back, so I should have a lot easier job trying to make those interface. And then just the last piece, you know, as you can see on the rocker rail here, I think I'm going to drop the floors about 2 inches below this lip. And the reason is it's going to give me just a little bit more height at the dash. And that height is going to be really helpful at the interface between the windshield and the upper cowl. So yep, I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. It's the progress I've made so far. Hope you enjoy the videos. Definitely, you know, kind of pushing the limits of my capabilities here, but just taking it slow and steady. And sometimes I just spend a few minutes just looking at things before I start cutting, to try to make sure that I do this as easily as possible. But yeah, like I said, hope you enjoy the videos. Thanks for your time, and more to follow.